Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about the month of June. And after all the calamity and upsets of May, I think we have a bit of a break. So this month, I expect a lot of things to happen, but not as severe as May or July. And actually what I think is happening is everything's kind of revving up or brewing underneath the surface. But take advantage of this month in terms of its energetic qualities, because this is a month where I really feel like you can get a lot done. So before I continue on, I want to remind everyone to sign up for my free newsletter, as well as check out my Patreon page. Go to galacticcenter.org. But also, I have something really exciting, and it's just coming out, and it's my Galactic Planner. And this is going to be what you need, because the Galactic Planner will calculate your birth chart, your personal chart, and give you the predictions month by month, day by day, delivered to your calendar, all the aspects. And this you can get for an entire year, so you can plan out your life in accordance to the stars. So go to galacticplanner.com, and for signing up, you're going to get the first month free. So try it out and see if you like it. That's a no-brainer. So let me continue on with what we can expect for the month of June. Well, all of the benefic planets, Jupiter, Mercury, and Venus, will all align in the sign of Taurus. And this is what we call in Vedic astrology a Saraswati yoga. So when all three benefics come to the same sign, this enhances learning. Saraswati was the goddess of learning and the arts. So there's so much that's been going on in colleges and universities, and now things can really be healed in accordance to all of that has been exposed. Now we know what's been going on. Now we know what's at the bottom of things. But now there's a healing. And I think anything to do around learning, education, is a great thing that you should take advantage of this month, because it is a great month for anything to do with classes, courses, learning, and the arts, art, music, acting, all of these beautiful aspects of life that I think have usually been underrated will come out and flourish. This is the month that we will be in appreciation of the arts and the beauty of this planet. So Saraswati is a great, auspicious, wonderful yoga, and that's what's going to be in effect from May 31st to June 12th. Now, once Venus separates and goes into Gemini after June 12th, then this breaks the yoga. So this yoga is only in for a few weeks. But I must say there is something that usually affects this yoga that's not so great, and that is because Mercury and Venus always travel so close to the sun, they will never be that far from the sun. The sun is involved most of the time while this yoga is in effect, and that kind of weakens it, because what we're talking about at this point is combustion. When planets get too close to the sun weakens them, it burns them. Their energies and what those planets are about become weakened. So I kind of think, though, that Mercury is really never completely combust the sun, because it's always with the sun. So you can't say a planet is constantly combust. But other planets, when they come too close to the sun, they are burnt, particularly Venus and, yes, Jupiter. And this whole month we have Jupiter and Venus together. just about till Venus separates by the 12th, that is. But part of May and part of June, Venus is together with Jupiter. And that's another thing. I know they're both beautiful benefics, and these are the great benefics in a chart we look for. But Jupiter and Venus actually don't like one another. They're the kings of their camps, and putting them together makes them fight. And another thing, when you have planets together, and especially when they come to the same degree, it's called planetary war. So this actually happened in May with Jupiter and Venus. But the planets they fight for supreme superiority. And that's what I think's been going on for the last few months and continuing on into June. Everyone is fighting. Have you noticed people just cannot come together with a sense of community or agreement or understanding? Everything's at odds. Everyone is upset and fighting. They're at war in their own lives because, we have the war going on with so many political, this is the year of so many elections around the world, and that causes fighting and disarray, people being against one another. Republicans, Democrats against each other. There's no time where they come together where they finally decide on what is right and what is wrong. It's always just a big fight. You see what I mean? There's no compromise ever coming together. There has to be compromising, and people refuse right now. So everyone is at odds with all these planets grouped up in Taurus. And yes, Taurus can be extraordinarily stubborn. All right, so I think you get my point. I mean, even the wars, it's the Palestinians or the Palestine and Israel, everything's at odds. Everyone is in disagreement. And that's what I feel like these planetary wars of all the planets competing against each other. That's what it feels like. But still, with the planets being where they are, things are just starting to brew and heat up. So yes, Venus with the Sun is competing, and Venus is weakened by being too close to the Sun. As a matter of fact, what I see happening is there is a new moon that is very significant, because on this new moon, which is June 6th, we have Venus exactly the same degree as the new moon. All three sit at 22 degrees of Taurus. And this has been a critical degree marker throughout all of my studies. I have seen where things kind of heat up and come to an event when planets hit that degree mark. So the fact that the new moon is here, I think what it's really telling us is something is happening in the economy. Venus rules money. Venus rules luxuries and wealth. And actually, on this particular day of the new moon, it is actually what I call Cassimi. Cassimi is when a planet is the same exact degree as the Sun. What essentially happens in Cassimi is the Sun and that planet become one. But the Sun's rays will emit the energy of that planet. And I find Cassimi is exceptionally good for one thing, but there's another thing that it's not good for. I find that people that have Cassimi in their chart with Venus and the Sun the same degree, they usually have great wealth. Venus deals with luxuries, but they have bad relationships. So one thing's good and one thing's not. Something is over the top, exceptional. As a matter of fact, Oprah Winfrey has Venus Cassimi the Sun. So she's never been married, relationships have not been her thing, but she amassed great wealth. So I'm feeling like this time around the new moon will have some effects in many ways. Well, for one, relationships, people are not coming together or seeing things to be able to compromise or have peace. There is no peace. But financially, I think there's going to be a change in the stock market where it could plummet, but it will come right back. This has been the nature of this volatile stock market throughout the year. It is not finished, so we're going to see more of this. But one thing that is really interesting for June 1st, a lot of things are going on the very 1st of June. Well, first of all, Uranus is going to go into Taurus. Uranus has a cycle that takes 80 years to go through all 12 signs of the zodiac. So what do? We always go back historically and see what happened. And that particular year that Uranus, the last time it entered into Taurus was 1941. And for most of you that are good with history, you will realize, but go back and double check me, I looked it up, 1941 was the year that was the bombing of Pearl Harbor. And so that was the year that the U.S. entered into World War II. So that's not looking too topsy-turvy or too good at this point. And I also noticed that that year, 1941, when all this occurred, Jupiter was in Taurus as well. And Jupiter was very close to that degree marking that I said is highly sensitive, 22, 23 degrees of Taurus. Let me tell you about that degree marking. Yes, this was at that time, and I've seen in many events, major things happen. Saturn was around that degree at 9/11. The fixed star that I see around that degree is called Rigel. And Rigel sits around 23, 24 degrees of Taurus. And this is the star that can actually denote great wealth. But evidently, it has issues around the United States because 9/11 was when Saturn was there and Pearl Harbor was when Jupiter was there. So this is an important time historically. A lot is happening now, but let me just say, I think this month we do have a breather, but I'm talking about the whole year that Uranus and Jupiter are together in Taurus. Between now, Jupiter just came into Taurus May of this year, 2024, and it will be in Taurus till May of 2025. And I believe this is where some very serious things will happen concerning war, and particularly involving the United States. Okay, so another thing that I see happening is, yes, the stock market will be extremely volatile, but also on June 1st is when Mars enters Aries. So Mars will be in Aries for quite some time, 6 weeks to be exact. Mars will go into Aries June 1st and it will leave by July 12th. And while it's in Aries, Mars increases in power because Mars rules Aries. So Mars becomes stronger, more empowered. It's a good thing, really, to have Mars in Aries because it gives energy to Mars. And Mars, we always think of in terms of it dealing with war and hostility and anger and violence and weapons, yes. But there's another side to Mars that is important to know. Mars is what gives us willpower, courage, drive, ambition, energy, and it rules sports. It rules the muscles and the circulation and blood in the body. So every planet has its negative and positive, and I believe that while Mars is in Aries, it will give us the opportunity to tap into the positive side of Mars. Therefore, I say use this month to move forward in many of the areas that you have been procrastinating with. Because Mars is going to give you this push, this pull, this energy, the willpower to accomplish the things that you couldn't do before. So there's actually 3 planets that are going to be in their own sign of rulership this entire month. And Mars, of course, in Aries, which when a planet is in its own sign of rulership, it's very good for that planet. And therefore, the positive side of that planet usually gets expressed. Although, don't kid yourself, Mars in Aries will be brewing a lot of the issues around where people are angry, where people are at odds with one another. This is going to be building and building this month. But use this positively. It's not very often that we get the green light to do something, right? So use this Mars energy. Now, the other planet that is very strong and powerful this month, and it's been so for a while, is Saturn. Because Saturn is in Aquarius. And in the old system of astrology that Vedic astrology uses, Saturn rules Aquarius. So Saturn is strong and empowered. The only issue is Saturn is aspecting Mars this whole month. In Vedic astrology, we look at the forward sextile 60 degrees away, the third aspect, as 100% in power. But sometimes I find that when Mars and Saturn are together in an aspect, it's actually empowering. It gives a willpower to really, really achieve. Okay, so I'm looking at this as a positive. The other planet, remember I said 3 planets are in their own sign this month, is Venus. So Venus on and off throughout this month will be charged with energy. And Venus deals with the arts and beauty, luxury, and money. So this is a month where things, not the whole month, because I do see the sun getting too close to Venus, which can weaken it. But when Venus gets a little distance, it does pick up that beauty and that energy. So we've got the power of these planets. They're not perfect, but we can work with them this month, okay? Now, one more thing that I want to mention about Saturn is June 29th, Saturn turns retrograde. And when a planet turns retrograde or direct, it is standing still. So that means it is all powerful. So around the end of June, Saturn becomes all powerful. It will station at 25 degrees of Aquarius. Now, if you have any planets at 25 degrees, your antennas should go up because this could be a month that you're going to find some difficult things going on, especially if you have any planets 25 degrees of Aquarius or 25 degrees of Leo. And actually 25 degrees of Aries as well, since that's Saturn's third full aspect, and 25 degrees of Scorpio, because that's Saturn's square, or should I say 10th aspect. Yes, but this is about karma, retribution when Saturn becomes strong. It's about responsibility, that things that deal with heavy responsibility will come into play. And this can mean globally for the world as well as dealing with leadership around the world. A lot is changing. A lot. So Saturn stationary, realize that the karmic debts that people owe will be due. They've got to pay their dues when Saturn is stationing, especially in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign of humanity. And boy, do we need some karmic dues to be paid to set things straight. Now, it is just the craziest time. People just will not change. Another thing is Saturn being in Aquarius and all these planets being in Taurus. These are fixed signs. And in my opinion, you'll laugh, but I think Aquarius is even more stubborn than Taurus. Aquarius is like, they won't even argue, because Aquarians, people with a lot of Aquarian planets, know they're right. And they won't even argue. Therefore, they put themselves on a pedestal above others. So there's no argument, but the stubbornness behind that is more extreme than Taurus. But this is what we're dealing with this month. The combating of opinions that will not change, compromise, come together, make peace, and it's building. It is absolutely building. There is so much that is brewing under the surface. And I think with it being in all these Taurus planets deals with the earth. And yes, things are rumbling and building this month because earthquakes are going to hit. I thought before it could happen in June, and it could, but I'm thinking July is the month. I think everything is brewing under the surface right now in effects that it's about to come out and shake the earth. Now, another thing with Saturn being in Aquarius and Mars being in Aries, there's a sign in between those two signs, Pisces. And what's happening this whole time that Mars is in Aries, which is June 1st through July 12th, it is hemming in, it's called hemmed in, the sign of Pisces. We actually call this a Papa Patry in Vedic astrology. And what that means is the sign that's surrounded by two natural malefic planets, Saturn and Mars, feels like it's hemmed in. And what that means, feels stuck. So whatever house in your chart that's Pisces will feel a little bit stuck this month, like you can't get a grasp on things to move forward. Even though I do think this is a month we can get a lot done, just that area of where Pisces is in your chart will feel stuck. And for example, if I were to look at the United States chart, which is not an individual's chart, but it is a chart we could work with, Pisces is the fourth house in the United States chart. So it's hemmed in by Saturn and Mars. So with that, that means the homeland, and it also represents real estate in the United States, which is stuck. There's hardly anything for sale. The prices are beyond what people will pay. So it is hemmed in when you talk about real estate, as well as it is the homeland. So everything to do with borders and all of that, it's stuck this month, all the way till the time till Mars can leave this sign and go into Taurus, which is going to be in July 12th. But when Mars goes into Taurus, I have a whole new set of things I have to tell you. So don't forget to watch for July, because July is the month that a lot of things are definitely culminating. But one more thing right now, because Mercury is going to conjunct the Sun this month, that's actually called a superior conjunction, because at the other end, when Mercury conjuncts the Sun, when it's an inferior conjunction, that's when Mercury's retrograde. So now Mercury's on the other side of the Sun from Earth. When it's retrograde, it's when Mercury's on the inside, Sun, Mercury, Earth, and that's when Mercury's retrograde, because it's closest to the Earth. But when Mercury is on the other side and conjunct the Sun, it's called a superior conjunction. And at this time, it means Mercury is moving tip-top shape, faster than ever. So it's the opposite of Mercury being retrograde. Mercury moving so fast means another indication that you can get things done. So be aware that this is a great month to accomplish your goals, get things done. And last but not least, this month, we have Jupiter is in a grand trine. It is trining Pluto and it's trining Ketu. And Pluto is major change and transformation. And while Jupiter casts a trine to it, this means this is a month where some major change and good transformations can happen. Yes, I think putting it together with the Saraswati Yoga, which deals with the arts and education, this is prime and beautiful to move forward with learning, as well as Mercury going tip-top speed, faster than ever. This means we can move forward, as well as Mars being in Aries and Saturn and Venus being in their own sign. This is a month you can get things done. Get going, get things organized, and move forward with meetings, everything you've been procrastinating. This is the month to do it in. You can accomplish so much in this month because take advantage of the powerful energy. We don't usually have months like this, and especially July. Get it done now, I'm telling you. So this is a month for action, to move forward. And I can guarantee you, this is the month that you can achieve great things. So go for it. June is our month to make things happen. So with that, I think I'll close. Remember, if you would like any information on me, like a reading, sign up for my newsletter, and find out about my Patreon page where you can become part of a spiritual community. Go to galacticcenter.org. Remember, my galactic planner is going to be your way to personally know how the planets affect you day by day. And if you want to learn Vedic astrology, I am starting a new semester 1 this summer. So get ready. You can learn with me, become my student. Go to universityofvedicastrology.com. Thank you.